children of all ages. Welcome to Robert's Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. A 2015 NASCAR season in review. 20 races gone already this year. 21st races this weekend. And at Pocono, I got that review already up. My preview already up. A lot of talk on Facebook. I've been posting stuff about Kyle Busch. I have the video up about Kyle Busch, how I feel he shouldn't be in the chase. That kind of sparked me to throw this together and do this real quick. If you look at NASCAR, the way they do things, it looks like sometimes they favor certain drivers. If you look at all the eras, if you look back in the 60s and 70s, you had Richard Petty and David Pearson. They were here, everybody else was here. On into the 70s, you had Darrell Waltrip. He was here. You had Bobby Allison's of the world. Then you had Dale Earnhardt. You always had just a handful of guys at the top of the mountain, and everybody else kind of struggling down here. On into Dale Earnhardt into the early mid 80s, on through the early 90s, and you had Jeff Gordon come along, and then you had Jeff Gordon winning all these races, and then you had Jimmy Johnson, and you had Tony Stewart, and the Kyle Busches. You just have like Kevin Harvick. You have these guys that certain guys seem like they rise to the top, and other guys kind of hang there in the middle. You had Mark Martin winning races back in the early 90s and always finishing second in the championship. You've had Kyle Busch winning all these nationwide races, all these truck races, all these Sprint Cup races, but never winning a title. So it seems like from time to time NASCAR favors certain people. Well, I was looking through the top 10s for so far in 2015, and I think I figured out who NASCAR is currently favoring. I'll get to that. Let's go over the season in review. The Sprint Unlimited, the pole winners from last year, the opening of Speed Weeks at Daytona, we had the number 20 Matt Kenseth win that. The Gatorade Duels, the qualifying races for the 500, we had the first race won by Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the second race by Jimmy Johnson. The Daytona 500 was won by Joey Logano, locked himself in the chase. The Fields of Honor Quick Trip 500 in Atlanta was won by Jimmy Johnson. The next two races, the Las Vegas Cobalt 400 and the PhoenixCampingWorld.com 500, both won by Kevin Harvick, the defending series champion. The Auto Club 400 from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, was won by the number 2 Brad Keselowski. The next race, the STP 500 Martinsville, was the first Toyota victory of the year for Denny Hamlin. We had 3 Joe Gibbs Toyotas in the top 10. Actually, all 3 were in the top 5. 3 of the 4 cars were in the top 5. That is the second time up to that point in the year that more than one Joe Gibbs car was in the top 10. Next, we had the Duck Commander 500 at Texas, won by Jimmy Johnson, his second win of the season. We go to Bristol for the Food City 500, won by Matt Kenseth, another Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. So far, both short track races were won by 2 Gibbs cars. Next at Richmond, the Toyota Owners 400, won by Kurt Busch, which locked him in the chase after him missing the first 3 races of the season for his suspension for domestic abuse. And yes, like I said in the Kurt Busch video, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the fact he should be eligible for the chase, but NASCAR gave him a waiver. I get it. I know he was never officially charged with it, but the fact that NASCAR suspended him for domestic abuse, along with all the scandals in the NFL, that's why NASCAR suspended him. In my eyes, if you miss races because of a suspension or because of injury, you should not be eligible for the championship. But currently, NASCAR's 2015 rules is, if you win a race and you're top 30 in points, you're eligible for the chase. I get that. Doesn't mean I gotta like it, but I get it. Those are the rules. Everybody's following by the same rules. So that makes Kurt Busch eligible for the chase with his win at Richmond. Next, the Talladega Geico 500, won by who else? Mr. Talladega himself, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Next, we go to Kansas for the SpongeBob SquarePants 400, won by Jimmy Johnson, his 3rd win of the season. Then we go to the Sprint All-Star Race at Charlotte. And NASCAR decided to do a little different aero package for the cars at starting at Charlotte. We had Denny Hamlin winning the Sprint All-Star race. We had 3 Joe Gibbs cars in the top 10. And we see the return of Kyle Busch. He missed 11 races. So NASCAR gave him the waiver. So yeah, the Sprint All-Star race had the return of Kyle Busch. Obviously NASCAR granted the waiver, says if you win a race and you're in the top 30 in points, you'll be in the chase. Controversy creates cash. Controversy creates cash. NASCAR, by letting Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, win a race, top 30 points, you're in the chase. They started a controversy. Because of that controversy, it's going to have people watching or following NASCAR that were just the casual fan will get deeper into it. The, really solid fan will get deeper into it. The diehard, just hardcore, just God wrestling fan is even more into it. So the Charlotte 600 was won by Carl Edwards, locking him into the chase. The Dover FedEx 400 won by Jimmy Johnson, his 4th race of the year. The first Pocono race, which the second one's this Sunday, the Xterra We Paint Winners 400 was won by Martin Truex Jr. The Michigan Quicken Loans 400 won by his 2nd race of the year, Kurt Busch. Now we start a stretch of 5 races where the Joe Gibbs Toyota wins 4 out of 5 with Kyle Busch. Has all 4 cars in the top 5, first time ever. We see Ford and Toyota dominating races where at one point you weren't even having Toyotas in the top 10. There's only 2. There's only one Ford, like 2 teams Ford, which Penske Racing. I think there's a couple other little independent companies that have Ford, but Ford's not that prominent right now. Roush and Penske are the only Fords. I forgot about Roush, my bad. But yet you have the St. Mart 300 at Sonoma, won by Kyle Busch. No other Toyota in the top 10. The Coca-Cola Zero 400 at Daytona, won by, of course, Mr. Restrictor Pro himself, Dale Earnhardt Jr. We have 1 Toyota in the top 10. Now we go to Kentucky. Quaker State 400, won by Kyle Busch, his 2nd win. 4 out of the top 5, Joe Gibbs Racing. 2nd and 6th, both, Roger Penske Racing. And then we got 4 Chevrolets. New Hampshire, the 5-Hour Energy 301, we have won by Kyle Busch. 2 other Joe Gibbs cars in the top 10. At Indianapolis, the Crown Royal 400, we won by Kyle Busch. We have 2 other Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas in the top 10. Both of these 2 races, actually the last 3 races, has been Toyota, Ford. 1-2. With twice Joey Logano and Brett Keselowski once. Nice little fact here. In the first 11 races of the year, Joe Gibbs Toyotas had 13 top 10s. There was 7 Chevrolet wins, 2 Ford, 2 Toyota in the first 11 races. In the 9 races since, there's been 15 top 10s for Joe Gibbs Toyotas. 5 Toyota wins and 4 Chevy wins. They changed the aero package about the same time that Kyle Busch came back. Did NASCAR change the aero package to help the Toyota? Yes. Knowing it would help Kyle Busch. Because controversy creates cash. NASCAR wanted the controversy of Kyle Busch making the chase and having people just so pissed off it's not even funny, and having them, rowdy fans just going crazy because, oh, Kyle's in the chase, he don't have to race all the races, he can miss 11 races and still make the chase. Which to me opens up a whole new Pandora's box. You get drivers who, if that's the rule, all you got to do is make the top 30 in points and win a race. What stops these smaller teams of selecting certain races. Let's not go to Talladegas. Let's not go to Daytona. Let's not go to, wherever else, Pocono or whatever. We can miss 5, 6, 7, 8 races. Win a race, top 30 points. We're golden. We'll concentrate all of our time on the intermediate tracks. For instance, I made a list of what's classified NASCAR's classification of tracks. There's 7 different ones. There's the intermediate track, which is Atlanta, Chicago, Darlington, Homestead, Kansas, Las Vegas, Charlotte, Texas, Kentucky. There's the intermediate 1 mile track, which is Dover, New Hampshire, Phoenix. The restrictor plate tracks, Daytona, Talladega. The intermediate 2 mile tracks, which is the Auto Club Speedway in Michigan. The intermediate tracks, 2.5 miles, which is Indianapolis and Pocono. The short tracks, Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond. And then the road courses of Watkins Glen and Sonoma. So let's take a look at the first part of the first 11 races of the year and the last 9. Let's look at the tracks that Toyota has won at in the first part of the season. The short tracks, Martinsville and Bristol. Well, we haven't been to Richmond yet, so we really can't look at that, and there hasn't been a short track in the next part of the season. Let's look at the, I don't know, boom. The intermediate tracks 2 mile, Auto Club Speedway in Michigan. The first 11 races at Michigan, Michigan wasn't in there. Auto Club Speedway, no Toyotas in the top 10. If we go to Michigan, there was 1 Toyota in the top 10. Let's look at Kentucky. It's classified as intermediate track. We had 4 Toyotas in the top 5. Let's pick an intermediate track from earlier in the season. Atlanta, 1 Toyota in the top 10. We haven't gone to Chicago yet. Haven't been to Darlington yet. Homestead, Kansas. We went to Kansas. 1 Toyota in the top 10. Las Vegas, 2 Toyotas in the top 10. Charlotte, that's where the rules changed. We had 3 Toyotas in the top 10. Texas, 1 Toyota was 10th. Kentucky, those are the 4 Toyotas in the top 10. Let's look at the intermediate 1 mile tracks. Dover. We went to Dover. First race after the Charlotte, there was 0 Toyotas or 0 Joe Gibbs Toyotas, in the top 10. There was a Michael Waltrip Racing Toyota in the top 10. At New Hampshire, 3 Toyotas in the top 10. Phoenix, earlier in the season, 0 Toyotas in the top 10. So yeah, it looks like the aero package that NASCAR came up with right after Charlotte has helped the Toyotas, especially here recently. More downforce or whatever they've done to it. Do I think NASCAR is letting the 18 car get by with things? My opinion? Yeah, but I'm not a Kyle Busch fan. And there's 4 drivers I hate. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Joe Logano, and Kurt Busch. So am I a little biased? Yeah, I'm a lot biased. But I will end this with, besides the fact that controversy creates cash, I will end this with, I like the chase. I did not like the chase. When they first came up with the chase, I did not like it. Could not stand it. Hated it. Thought it was the stupidest thing in NASCAR history. Till I had an interview with Brian France and an interview with Bill France Jr. Alright, you know what? These guys know a hell of a lot more than I do about NASCAR. These are the founding family of NASCAR. We'll give it a shot. Still didn't care for the chase. When they came up with the whole knockout thing, I'm like, oh, fuck myself. What the hell is this going to come up with? You're going to have people taking people out for championship? It's going to be ugly. Well, you know what? It added drama. The chase added drama to the 26th race of the year at Richmond. It adds drama each week for making the chase. Alright, the knockout, I'm like, oh, give this a shot. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it made for better racing. I enjoyed the chase races last year because of it. So, keep the chase. Keep, if you win, you're in. Keep the knockout part of the chase. What they need to do, regardless of the outcome of this season, is fix it where you have to qualify for, or attempt to qualify or qualify for every race. Yes, I know, as a person commented on my Facebook posting, Darrell Waltrip back in the day broke his leg. He basically came in, started the car, and parked it or got out of it. And they hated that. Well, you know what? If Kyle would have done that, yeah, he would have got 1 point for each of those, but he would have at least attempted to start it. He would have at least attempted to qualify. I think what NASCAR needs to do is change the rule a little bit where if the driver, so say if Kyle Busch would have qualified the car and then had somebody take it over for the race, whoever qualified it got the points. So if Kyle would have qualified it and then Matt Crafton or David Reagan or whoever else would have drove the car in the race, since Kyle put the car in the race, Kyle gets the points. It wouldn't have been a great solution, but I would have liked it better than what they're doing. You got to at least attempt to qualify for all the races, be the top 30 points, and win a race for the chase. Okay. Change it to where you got to at least attempt to qualify for all the races. I hate seeing the possibility of a champion who missed a third of the season. Just like somebody else on Facebook said, well, Tom Brady is suspended for 4 games, and he still gets to play in the playoffs. NASCAR is basing their points off of one person, the driver. Yes, the team matters. Yes, the team builds the car. But when it comes down to the chase, it's not a team effort. It's that driver. It's Kyle Busch. It's Jeff Gordon. It's Jimmy Johnson. It's not Hendrick Motorsports, Stewart Haas Racing. It's Jeff Gordon's points. It's Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s points. It's Kevin Harvick's points. It's Kyle Busch's points. Kyle Busch's wins. You can't compare a sport where the team is first and then the player, where you can interchange players and it doesn't matter. But you can't have Tom Brady miss 4 games for his suspension and still be your MVP. It's not going to happen. You can't have, Mike Trout missing a third of the season, which is 50-some games, and still being your MVP and winning batting titles. They put rules in place so that doesn't happen. NASCAR needs to do the same thing. Like I said, if one of the Busch brothers is your 2015 NASCAR Sprint Cup champion, I will never, ever, ever watch NASCAR again. Plain and simple, period, done. As always, thanks for watching the Robert Sports Show and have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, the YouTube leader in sports channels.